These lips will praise your name.
Shkoyach. It's wonderful. As we're settling in, we'll just have a short moment of interlude before we enter into our prayers for this evening.
Shalom, shalom bimroma, uyase shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroma, uyase shalom. Uyase shalom. Yase shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'roma. Uyase shalom. Oh, say shalom, shalom b'roma. Uyase shalom. Uyase shalom.
Welcome everyone again, once again. We're going to start our service with Shalom Aleichem. With Shalom Aleichem on page 2 of our Siddurim. Page 2 of our Siddurim. And Avi's going to lead us on Shalom Aleichem, page 2.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharim, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Orchem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seifem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Continue with meditation on page 3. On page 3. On Sukkot, we celebrate the harvest that took place in the land of Israel many centuries ago. Together,
On Sukkot, we celebrate the harvest that takes place in the land of Israel in our own day.
on Sukkot in ancient days, our people gathered in Jerusalem, God's holy city.
On Sukkot tonight, we gather in our own place of Jerusalem. Congregation makes time under protection to center our holy community.
On Sukkot, our tradition reminds us that it is a mitzvah to share our harvest and feed the hungry, both near and far.
Let our celebration of Sukkot include a harvest offering of food for those who are in need.
I'd like to invite up now Rob and Nan for our candle lighting on page 4.
We kindle these lights, O God, in celebration of our festival of thanksgiving and joy. We thank you for your many gifts, for Shabbat rest, for nourishment of body and soul, for a loving family and holy friends. May we always be among those who add light to the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hatlik ner shel Shabbat v'yom tov. Blessed are you, eternal God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy through mitzvot and has commanded us to kindle the lamps of Shabbat and Yom Tov. First try.
You know the secret now, it's the flamethrower. We brought out the secret weapon now. So continue with the Hasi Kaddish on page 5. We now rise for the Hasi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'yamadi rafirutei yamith malchutei v'chayekon u'yoymekon u'payei v'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman kari imeru amen Yehei shmei rabba mevorach Le'olam Almaya Yivarach Yitvarach V'yishabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramah V'yitnaseh V'yithajar V'yitzaleh V'yitzalal Shemei Kedusha Brechu Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tush v'chata v'nechemata Damira mi'alma V'yemeru Amen. And standing now on page 6 for the Baruch Hu, Hazandusians will lead us in the Baruch Hu.
Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Continue with the responsive reading on page 6. Blessed are you, eternal our God, who by his words creates the night.
Create the twinkling lights of the stars.
You create the moon to shine by night.
You control the sun that warms our days.
With great wisdom do you bring the changing seasons.
Blessed are you, eternal, who creates the night.
How do you lead us on? Already at it.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiramayam, 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 Umelo. Yiramayam, 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 Umelo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz.
Continue with the responsive reading on page 7. O God, who may enter your sukkah, who may stand in your holy space.
O Those who are upright and do justice.
Those who give their word. Who do not wrong others or bring shame upon them.
Do not speak ill of others.
You, O God, in love, teach us Torah that enriches our days.
We rejoice in the Torah and do so forever.
Blessed are you, Eternal, who loves your people Israel. Israel arrived to the Kedusha. Baruch Hu, Torah, Ura, Hallelujah. We'll continue on page 8 with Shema. Avi will lead us with the Shema on page 8.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We continue on page 9 with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher Anochi netzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitecha b'beitecha u'letecha b'derech u'shachlecha u'kumecha u'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'b'yisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kirushim le'lechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Continue now on page 10 with a responsive reading. Sukkot reminds us of our slavery in Egypt.
Sukkot celebrates our freedom from Egypt and all bondage.
Sukkot is a prayer for the freedom of all people, women, children, and men.
When we went free from Egypt, we sang a song of freedom. So let all free to sing and rejoice.
Hazan Lizzie and Alida Sinichamoka, page 10.
With the joyous celebration that the Israelites sang at the shores of the Red Sea, we sing Yababai. Yabai ba bim bim bam, yababai ba bim bam, yabai ba bim bim bam, yababai ba bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yababai ba bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yababai ba bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh peleh, nora tehilot oseh peleh. Yabai ba bim bim bam, yabai ba bim bam, yabai ba bim bim bam, yabai ba bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yabai ba bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yabai ba bim bam. מערכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה מרים. זה לי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יבבה בים בים בם, יבבה בים בם, יבבה בים בים בם, יבבה בים bam, די 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 די, יבבה בים בם, די 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 די, יבבה בים בם.
אמרתי אדוני יעקב, ולמד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We now rise on page 12 for the Amidah prayer.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufiyahi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo v'Ahava. Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Elach Melech Lemid Umechayeh Umasmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'koshim b'chol yom yahaleluch hasela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Continue now on to page 14. Sukkot is a Jewish Thanksgiving.
Earth and sky will give you thanks.
Sunshine and rain, mist and dew, flower and fruit are good.
For all these will give you thanks.
When we hold the lulav and the etrog,
Behold, sunshine and rain, mist and dew, flower and fruit in our hands.
the lulav is a tall palm branch that resembles his spine. It reminds us.
Be brave, stand up for what you believe in.
Myrtle looks like an eye. It reminds us.
Always do the best in yourself and others.
The willow of the brook is shaped like a lip. It reminds us.
Say words that are tender and kind, that all who hear you be blessed.
The etrog resembles a heart. It reminds us.
Serve God and love people and animals with a whole heart.
Now bring the lulav and the etrog together, reminding us that we are one with God, the earth, and the goodness of all living and growing things. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. Blessed are you, eternal our God, who makes us holy through divine mitzvot and has commanded us to raise the lulav. Have you now lead us on page 15? Page 15.
I think my page is different.
You may be seated at this time.
Shabbat mayim b'sason mimanei Yeshua. Shabbat mayim b'sason mimanei Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Hey, mayim, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Hey, mayim, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Hey, mayim, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. Keep going while they're passing the lulav. Give everybody a chance to shake their lulav.
Anyone would like to get this one, you can go ahead and come on up here, because if I walk past this line, there's a wrath of God waiting. Oh, I got, maybe Michael would like to do it. Want to do it? Thank you. Yep, let's do it.
Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Hey, mayim, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Shabbat mayim b'sason. Mi'anei Yeshua. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim. Hey, mayim b'sason. Hey, mayim, mayim b'sason. Mayim, 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 mayim b'sason.
It's like a wedding.
Yeah.
Walk this way.
Down the aisle.
I like your blue teeth and tongue.
Became very festive.
Come this way.
You can play with the lulav and the etrog. Oh no, you're not the etrog. Oh, you want to leave it here? Alright, I'll take it.
I'll hold on to the marshmallow.
Yeah, we'll get the marshmallows later. I'm looking forward to that. That was a little matan that he brought me, a little gift. This book reminds us of farmers who must rest in the shade. The sukkah recalls the years of our people wandering in the wilderness. The sukkah symbolizes peace. Have a moment of silent meditation. If you choose to continue davening at your own speed, you may at this time.
Can you tell?
All right, Kazan Wisnian is going to lead us in Oseh Shalom on page 16. Page 16.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroma Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael.
Right, at this time, I'd like to invite up Dean Jonathan Heck to share with us some words of Torah. And for those of you who don't know, Dean Jonathan Heck is the Dean of the Cincinnati campus of Hebrew Union College. Prior to joining us at Hebrew Union College, he has served over 25 years, was 26 years? 25 years at Temple Chaverim, and that's in Albany, New York. And during his tenure and his time at Hebrew Union College, he served as a wonderful mentor to me in my rabbinical journey, and I'm so glad to have him here today and have him here tomorrow for my installation, bestowing upon me the title formally for the congregation of Eitz Chaim. So welcome.
Okay, so I need my...
Would you like this or?
Oh, okay, well, no, because I can't
Okay.
look out there.
Okay.
But I need my board and I'll need
Okay.
text. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Because if not, I'll use the microphone, but this way I can walk into the group. So yes, I'm Rabbi Jonathan Hecht, and I am the Dean of Hebrew Union College, where Rabbi Poland went to school and was ordained. Okay, great. And first of all, I want to let you know how excited I am to be here and how wonderful it is. We left Cincinnati last night and we drove part of the way to Wheeling, West Virginia, and then we drove the rest of the way today. And driving at this time of the year
Someone's very
was
excited.
totally amazing because of the changing trees, the foliage. You know, that we just finished the High Holy Days and the whole sense of turning and changing, and our lives are changing, and we're going into we're leaving the one season going into the next season, and it kind of reminds you of it, what this holiday reminds us of. So first of all, that you were able to get me out to see the foliage is amazing. That's first of all. And second of all, then when Rabbi said to me that, well, if you would teach on Friday night, we're doing Shabbat under the stars, that was even better. Of course, Sukkot is a time when you look out through the roof of your sukkah. The sukkah, the big thing that it has, in addition to the walls, is the schach on top of it. And you have to be able to, it has to be more shade than sun, but you have to be able to see the stars through it. So to be out here, how perfect. And on top of that, fantastic weather. So it's just amazing to be here, and I really want to thank all of you and thank Shmuel for inviting me to participate. So when Rabbi Poland said to me, we're going to do Shabbat under the stars, I immediately thought of this amazing text from the book of Isaiah that goes like this: Se'u marom einechem. Point, look up, lift your eyes, Se'u einechem, to the marom, to the heights. And what do you see when you look up? Is the stars. Now, tonight, in this area, I was like, okay, it's going to be amazing. I was watching the weather, and there's not going to be any clouds, and I'm driving all day, and it's blue sky. But there are some that are coming out. You're starting to see some of them. And by the way, I don't recommend that anyone do this. I'm a professional, though, so I can take out my phone on Shabbat. But so there's a wonderful program that you have, which is called Sky View, and you're able to basically see what the stars are in the heavens when you go and look up there. So I was doing this before. I couldn't see the stars, but I could look up and I could get a sense of what the various constellations were. So that's what we could use as our substitute. But when we look up to the stars, what's our feeling, right? What is the book of Isaiah? It says, look up to the stars, Urae, and look, mi bara ele. Who created these? Who created these stars? There's a sense of awe and wonder that we feel when we are in nature, when we're looking at the stars, when we look at the vastness of the universe. And that is what the prophet was saying. When we look up to the heavens, we wonder about who it is that created all of these things. And I did bring a passage from the Zohar to talk about this idea. And so I'm going to pass it out now. The Jewish mystics, who were great at getting a sense of how God works in the world, looked at this verse and used it at the very beginning of the most important book of Jewish mysticism called the Zohar. And it's an amazing passage. I made 30 copies. And of course, there was more than 30 people here. So why doesn't, if you guys can share in each row, great, that'll be terrific. Pass them around. If you guys can share. And we're going to take a look at this beautiful passage from the Zohar, the great book of Jewish mysticism. And I will bring it all back to Eitz Chaim too, hopefully by the end of my talk.
Right there. Right there.
There's one over there too.
There. That's the other one. Oh, yeah. No, that's a plane.
Okay.
That's a jet blue plane.
I have one more copy here. Anybody? One more copy? Okay. So, the Zohar, the book of Jewish mysticism, which by the way means the shining Zohar, Rabbi Elazar opened with this verse. Lift your eyes on high, Se'u marom einechem, Uru'u, and see, mi bara ele, who created these? To which site? To the site which all eyes gaze. Right? Where do we lift our eyes? Toward the site? To the site toward which all eyes gaze. Which site is that? To the opening of the eyes. There you will discover that the concealed ancient one, susceptible to questioning, created these. Who is that? Who? The one called the end of heavens above, whose domain extends over everything, since it can be questioned, yet remains concealed and unrevealed. It is called who? beyond there is no question. Very deep. You obviously understand the words, but you don't understand what the person is saying, right? Jewish mysticism is about asking questions about the biblical text and finding God's presence in it. So the first question that we ask is what? Who? When you think about God, who? Who created this? The Jewish mystics looked into the Torah and thought that God's presence was actually physically manifest in the letters, in the words that were there. So you can see on the back of the sheet you have this tree, and Eitz Chaim on the back. The Jewish mystics saw that God was designed like an Eitz Chaim, like a tree. And I have a slightly bigger version of it here, so you can see. It looks like, ooh, you should grab the other side here. So, wait, I need a little lower. At the very bottom of the tree is Israel. And at the very top is the part that you cannot even ask about. And God is flowing downward through the tree, through the Eitz Chaim. And of course, the Torah is the Eitz Chaim. And that's where the mystics saw God. God's presence is in the Eitz Chaim. Not just the one in the ark, but in the words of the Torah, which are reflected in this tree. So at the very, very bottom is the Shekhinah, the feminine presence of God. And at the very top are three sphirot. These are called sphirot, spheres, that represent God's potentiality that you cannot even know anything about. And then there are the lower seven. And as you do the mitzvot, the essence of God flows into the world. Blessings come into the world. That's what's happening through the Torah, through the actions of Torah. We bring God's presence more and more into the world. And the blessings come down. And when we don't observe it, those blessings don't flow. The Shekhinah is not just the feminine presence of God, but also it is the people of Israel is considered the Shekhinah. And so when we sing Lecha Dodi Likrat Shabbat at the beginning of our service, go out to meet the bride, what are we talking about in our prayers today? It's the idea that the feminine presence of God is coming back into alignment with the rest of God on Shabbat. When the Jewish people keep Shabbat, we welcome the Shekhinah into our presence. In many synagogues, people stand up and turn to face the back of the room because that's the moment that God's presence comes in. So at the very, very top, there's a part that you don't even know. That is the who. We want to ask about it, but you don't know anything about it. So we'll take a look at, I need to have my copy of the text. So how does Rabbi Elazar interpret this verse? Lift up your eyes on high. Who created these? Lift up your eyes to which site? To the site that all people are gazing to the Shekhinah at the bottom. There you will discover the concealed ancient one, which is up here, the Sphira of Bina, of understanding. That is the one that you can question. You might be able to ask questions up till this level. You can ask about. Above it, there is no asking. So who is the one that you're asking about? It's the who. The one that's called the end of heavens above, whose domain extends above everything. Since it can be asked questions about, you can call it who. But everything above it remains there. You cannot ask any questions. So me, the who, that is this Sphira, created Elah, these lower ones. And when that happens, the letters actually change, and you take the mem and yud of who, and you put them at the end of Eleh, the one that you can't ask about created Elohim. And this is what Jewish mysticism's about. It's about, okay, now you can put it down. It's about trying to find God's presence. And the mystics felt that God had to be manifest, had to be found in the world in some way, and it was found through Torah. And it has influenced what Judaism is today. But the question is really, how do we continue to find God's presence? I mean, these people lived in the 12th century. What about us today? How do we find God's presence? When do we look up to the heavens and feel that sense of awe? I've worked with many, many Jews over the years, and I've found that it's not ever a good idea to ask a Jewish person, a confirmation class, an adult education class, tell me what God is. Tell me what is God? What's your definition of God? Jewish people cannot give that explanation. But when you ask, when have you ever felt close to God? When have you ever felt God's presence in your life, in any way? That's a different kind of an answer. So I just want to get some ideas. How do you think Jewish people, find God's presence today in their lives? When has any of you ever felt God's presence?
During childbirth.
Okay, maybe at a moment like a childbirth, a powerful moment. Yeah.
When you're ill. When you're ill.
When you're ill, sometimes. Yeah.
Nature.
In nature, yeah, just like this text is talking about.
Music.
Through music, yeah.
To know love.
Through acts of making the world a better place. Right? Whenever I've asked my confirmation classes, when have you felt God's presence? I usually get answers like at my bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. That's a moment that I felt as close to God as I could be. And then kids who've gone to Jewish summer camp might say to me, when I was at camp. At camp, I feel God's presence. People who've gone to Israel, when they land in Israel, they say, that's a time that I felt God's presence. When I had children, when I got married. There are moments, if we open our eyes and we ask, who created this? We might feel God's presence in our lives. When we come to temple and we're with our friends and when we're during the high holy days. There are so many moments, if we open the eyes, we can do that. There was a great teacher in Judaism named Abraham Joshua Heschel, and his teaching was that God is found in the feeling of radical amazement that we might feel at a certain moment in our lives if we can open ourselves up to that experience. And he wrote 2 really interesting books. You don't have to read all of his books. I'll just give you the titles and you'll get a sense of it. He wrote one book that was called God in Search of Man. And today we should say God in Search of People, but he wrote a while ago. And the idea is that God is present in the world and searching for us. And the other book that he wrote is Man is Not Alone. So those 2 books together, when we put them together, we might feel God's presence. Not all the time, but when we open our eyes and get that sense. So I know it was a little complicated to get the Jewish mysticism, but it immediately made me think about this weekend, about this day, because together with Rabbi Poland, there will hopefully be many moments when you'll have that opening of the eyes. As you go into the future together, as you build your community together, for the opening of the eyes and feeling God's presence together. That's actually what we taught him to do in rabbinical school, and what hopefully you guys will do together. I know you will, because I know Rabbi Poland is amazing, and it will be a wonderful journey that you will be on together. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and thank you for inviting me tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. John, can you lead us with God and Malik on page 16? Thank you.
I know that some people know the hand movements. Right? Let's see if those hand movements come out.
We're going to warm up with some hand
We'll
movements.
warm up.
Okay.
See if my hands warm up a little myself. Okay. We'll start really slow. All right? And then we're going to build up. Right, Robert? Yeah. All right, good. David, Melech Israel, Hai V'Kayam. David 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 Melech Israel, Hai V'Kayam.
All right. That warmed us up. Thank you. So we're now going to rise on page 17 and get that blood flowing again. We're going to be active right now. Aleinu, going to warm up, standing up. And everyone good? Okay. Page 17. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'tefidu l'yotzeh b'reshit shelo atzanu v'yaratzot v'lo samanu kimishpachot adama shelo sam kalkenu kachen v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam v'anachnu kurim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlakim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz U'Moshe V'Yekarov HaShamayim Mima'al U'Shchinatu Zo B'Govhei Meroimim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efezulato Kakatu v'torato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota el avecha ki Adonai hu Elohim v'shamayim mima'al v'yal haaretz nitzachad en od. We're joining together in an italicized reading. We therefore hope in you, O God eternal, soon to behold the splendor of your might. Then will false gods vanish from the earth, and the idols will be utterly cut off, to heal the world through the sovereignty of the Almighty. Then will all acclaim you as their God, and forsaking evil, turn to you alone. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend, and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, O eternal our God, let them humble themselves to your glorious name. Let them give honor. Let them accept the yoke of your dominion, that you may rule over them soon and forever. For the dominion is yours, and you will rule in glory. As it is written, the eternal will reign forever and ever. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Vayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo Ushemo, Ushemo Echad. You may be seated. I'll be now reciting the names from our Misha Barak list. If there's anyone who'd like to add any names to the Misha Barak list after it has been read aloud, please share with us those names of your loved ones so that we can pray for a healing of mind, body, and or of soul. Evan Mitchell Wadika, Alice Souza, Suzanne Wadika, Cedar Bat Marguerite, Ruth Dowse, Jerry Dowse, Vicky Hyatt, Bill Mattress, Bruce Fleischig, Miriam Mendel Ben Shira, Nachman Ben Malka, Shlomo Lev Ben Malka, Alan Lewis, Esther Bat Ruth, Yehuda Ben Joseph, Russ Pineri, Jeffrey Stein, Jeffrey Koffler, Aaron Evers, Claudia Schachter, Asher Ephraim, Courtney Zabadik, Linda Bloom, Elaine Blitz, Linda Wilson, Rhoda Jacobs, Becky Bunnell, Linda Golub, Sylvia Stern, Myra Levis, Eve Schneider, Benjamin Moshe Ben Deborah, Dr. Sharon Anita Wander, Sonia Richmond, Susan Skogvernick. Sorry. Are there any additional names anyone would like to have added to our Misha Barak list?
Gloria Morrison.
Gloria Morrison,
Arlene Parrish.
Arlene Karish,
Yeah. And the Elbaum family.
and the Albon family,
Diana Silverman
Diana Silverman,
and Robert Flessel.
Robert Flessel. Flessel. Are there any other names? Yes. Amy Appleman,
Alan and Barbara Steinberg.
Alan and Barbara Steinberg.
Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw,
Marcia Pons
Marcia Ponce,
and Bob Semenson.
Bob Semenson. Are there any additional names? Okay. I'd like to ask the Martinez family to lead us in the Misha Barak prayer on page 19. Thank you again. Our thoughts now will turn to those members of our community who have passed at this past season or as of recently. I'll be reciting the names from our Your Site list, and in addition to that, names from our community who have passed recently. After these names have been read aloud, if there is anyone you're observing a Your Site for or in the period of Shoshim of, please share with us the name of your loved one so that we as one community can pray for the elevation of their soul, their neshama to Shemayim. Our recent passing list includes the following names: Judith Ellen Schuler, Philip Wolstein, Stanley Tobe, Steve Goldblum, Jacob George Tobel, Peter Lizama, Stan Perlman, David Schneider, Raphael Marcus, Lawrence Schneider, Sylvia Tannenbaum, Lawrence Guttmacher. Those are the recent passings. Are there anyone who's observing a recent passing?
Jean Vitale.
Jean Vitale,
Brady Albaum.
Brady Albon, and in just a moment we'll do also the yurt sites now. The yurt sites for today continue with the following names: Marjorie Belzer, Ruth Fehrenbach, Miriam Feingold, Isidore Lerner, Jean Bussner, Abraham Schachman, Philip Axelrod, Harold Rosinowitz, Lorraine Ginsburg, Diana Kasdan, Ava Hauser, Jacob Solomon, Gabrielle Appelman, David Hutter, Clara Appelman, Herbert Friedman, Elizabeth Bodock, Max Jacobs, Pearl Hutter, Linda Bloom, Mary Kaufman, Rose Hutter, Irving Yokelson, Mindy Mann, Clara Rothman, and George Lewis. Are there any additional names anyone here is observing a yurt site for? Yes.
Deborah Irwin.
Deborah Irwin,
And Florence Bain.
Florence
Bain.
Babe, Bain, okay.
Amanda Newman.
Amanda Newman,
Ben Rodriguez.
Ben Rodriguez,
Fred Kellogg.
Fred Kellogg,
Judy Berman.
Judy Merman,
McDonald Smith.
McDonald Smith,
And Larry Bershaw.
Larry Bershaw. Are there any additional names? Okay, if it is your custom, please rise for the Kaddish prayer on page 20. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabah v'alma dira kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon u'yomechon u'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'zman kariv v'yimru amen Yehei shmei rabah mevarach l'olam olamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yisba'ar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kudashah v'reichu La'ela min kol v'yirchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata gam yoram v'yalma v'yimru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Oseh shalom v'nirma Hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May God continue to bless us with sacred moments and moments with our loved ones, and let us say, Amen. You may be seated. I'd like to invite up board member for our announcements. Who would like to take the opportunity? David would like to take the opportunity, but you have to wait a few more years until you're on the board. You're not quite at that point.
Good try.
Next time.
No precedent.
You're almost at the age of bar mitzvah, and after you get bar mitzvah into 18, I think that's, well, we have to talk about that. You may be eligible.
You may run for president.
Yeah, you may.
Or David could stand next to me if you want.
David, would you like to come on up?
You might as well get used to standing up in front of everybody, because November 12th is his bar mitzvah. I got confused.
Just want you to stand for support.
Yeah, you're just standing here next to her. support. Okay, so tomorrow, October 15th, is Rabbi Poland's installation, Shabbat, virtual and in person. It starts at 10 a.m. October 17th, we have Shemini Atzeret in the morning and Simchat Torah in the evening. 7th grade is going to lead service October 21st. David's going to be in that play. Blessings of the Animals is going to be Shabbat October 29th. We have Student Shabbat also on October 29th, so students, you could bring your pets. Veterans Shabbat is November 4th. Blood Drive is November 6th. Bar Mitzvah of David Brown is November 12th. Rutgers Jewish Film Festival, October 30th to November 13th, in person and virtual. More info is on the weekly email. And then I know, oh my gosh, Social Action is still doing their fundraisers, food drive and clothes. So Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thanks, Dave.
The movie star. All right. David's going to lead us in Bim Bam on page 21. I think you guys know the words. Oh, no, did I say David? I meant to say Abby. But David, come on up here. You're going to lead as well. You're gonna,
Do you know it? Do you know
you
it?
know it? I think you know it.
Okay, David's going to help us.
Okay.
Bim,
Bim, bim, bim, bam. Bim, 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 bim. All the kids, come on up. Come on, all the kids. Bim, bam. You know this one, you know it. Bim, 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 bam.
Sing again, bim bam.
Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
Biri, biri, biri,
Bim, bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bim,
All right, you guys have to help me with the claps. Ready? We sing Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat,
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Bim bam.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
Biri, biri, biri,
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. High fives. High five. David, high five. High five. High five. All right. All right. Good Shabbos, everyone. I know you're all very, very hungry. We're going to go inside and
We're going to do the Kiddush in the
we're going to do the Kiddush in the Sukkah first, though.
But everybody, please bring your chair inside.
Bring your
Put it
chairs
around the
inside. I was
table.
trying to determine what that meant. So I thought, okay. I'm going to end it right